What's the biggest difference between who we saw then and who we're going to see this weekend?
What's interesting, because now that this will be the second game into the second half of the season, I asked George Springer, what's your take on this Blue Jay squad? And he said, we have yet to play our best baseball of the year, which is a good sign if you're a Blue Jays fan, because, for Red Sox fans that haven't been keeping tabs, and I don't expect them to, the first half of the season for this team has really been, in the words of manager John Schneider, consistently inconsistent. So when the offense was going in the first month and a half, the pitching was the defense was and then when the pitching and the defense were clicking, the offense was struggling. So there have been little spurts of when all facets of the game have come together. But I think the biggest difference is no Alek Manoah, which has been a big story here.
Right.
Here's a guy who finished third in Cy Young voting and is now pitching in the Florida Complex League in his first real competition on the mound against rookies. He gave up 10 runs on 11 hits. It was a gruesome line. And when we asked John Schneider, what the takeaway was from the front office and the coaching staff, they said, look, the line wasn't pretty, but at the end of the day, he was going through the quote unquote, process, going through the process. He was, working on things they asked him to work on. So they weren't quite, really focused on the line. So that is progressing. Vladimir Guerrero was not the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. they saw last year. He's been hitting the ball hard. He's hit for average, but we haven't seen the power as of yet. It may be starting to come back, unfortunately, for Red Sox fans. He's hit 3 home runs over the last 6 games here on this homestand. Post-game yesterday, he told us he's getting, quote-unquote, closer. So you may see him break out. He's already told MLB that he'll participate in the home run derby. A lot of people will find that odd because, he only has 12 home runs on the season. But for some reason, he believes that this might be a good thing for him, maybe to kind of inspire him and kind of boost him. So the two biggest differences, no Alek Manoah, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hasn't quite got that power yet in his bat.
It's interesting you talk about his decision to go, and I thought it was really cool. His family was all part of the decision, and we've seen guys. David Ortiz years ago here, was on a tear and did the home run derby, and then went on a drought and said it messed up my swing. So maybe this is the reverse of that. You're not hitting home runs. Go get your swing back.
Right, which we thought was kind of. We asked John Schneider that, like, do you think it'll kind of boost him? And he kind of smiled and said, we hope so, because you're right. Everybody is always concerned about getting their swing out of whack after participating in the home run derby. But you're right. The hope is, the fingers are crossed, that this is kind of a reverse effect, that maybe it'll get him going, kind of motivate him, kind of inspire him to get back to the Vladdy that everybody knows he can be.